That's
Stores, I had that.
We, yeah, you guys get it back. Yeah. So we have 9 times.
And those two.
Yeah, but hold on.
This is all.
well, it all depends. I messed with them without suits.
This bottom.
Is it really so?
He had a bell?
Yeah.
No.
I moved it.
Only
I moved all the bird.
He says, I can tell there's something bothering me. I mean, he's gonna get me.
Moved all the bird down to the bottom.
I'll go on, he put it on
And then
for
just
like
finally on
10, 15 seconds.
And I would have some candy bars, forget my
But what he does,
Still buy some sugar.
he moves so slowly.
And then-
Oh, we are doing, you're doing. My charts. Means you're digging. in.
Did you smoke them?
No, but I want to- Makes it better.
Yeah, that. Sometimes happen. I don't.
I just like on him. Do it.
And this year, what you're gonna do is
Mine
I'm gonna
is
use
taking a lot more time to like look at the bees,
these
but I'm telling you, they're not
plastic
too
signboard.
He goes.
With a 6-inch hole in it.
He
Put
waits.
that on, and then
He's taking up the inner kind of.
sugar on top of that, the damn sugar.
He can't do it.
Stop by it.
So
You know, keep it.
hard. I know, grab it, always hold my here, and push it down, at the same time pick it up, so down, so it's.
I ripped some of these things right here.
So a 10-minute inspection is absurd.
Well,
Yeah.
So. There's.
I used to, I had.
it's like 3 queens and 1
And then
hundred.
it's going left.
This thing is
So
like, what? Way there, it's way there, I think he's in bed. So they think they bought this, they built some new queens, but one, you know, they just had to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, just getting ready for winter after we.
So how did you have your help tonight this year?
Yeah, I left.
Well, that
was super. Junior high, had a lot of.
I saw.
You know, fed them a little bit after the harvesting.
Yeah.
And still.
I'm not rude, almost have one spot, yeah,
The outer frame,
but it hasn't even warm enough.
So I joined, but you have to let me in. Alright.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Well, once we can get rid of that, we have to admit everybody one at a time.
We've shut that off.
And yet it's so.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know why they first seen like yesterday?
I mean, there's honey behind.
Yeah.
Behind some of the inside.
Oh.
The outer beads are inside. It's very little. I was thinking that we're gonna
Where's
pull it up
that?
this way. Getting the honey out of
but
harvesting, but they just moved it along. Up in the super. They just took it to the top and bypassed
That's their nature to
the.
do it.
No.
And what you might wanna do next spring, if you haven't.
Park the other day. But then,
After the bees had a chance.
I
Work over it.
I-
It's one
I
of
had
the
the guys
downside.
and Heber and.
You know, back then.
Yeah, and then I saw
Hey,
that.
well, so that means that-
I was on with Florida guys and Joe.
I think I have to turn sharing on too or something.
I actually rubbed it. I'm gonna tell them I'm afraid I'm breaking plastic. I'm afraid.
You
Yeah.
open the seat, but it's not curtain, but I just put it on. Sometimes I'll just put.
Then I routine, usually they.
But I do just wait,
So
I got an extra
service on this.
and I put election sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I
I made
put,
them work.
and make a loop.
So.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Welcome to the last
So her friend.
meeting of the year. And if we have any viewers on Zoom, please use the chat. If you've got questions or you have an issue like you can't hear me or you can't see the slides. And thank you for running Zoom for us. We have kind of a short agenda, but I'm hoping that there'll be a lot of discussion. We're gonna first talk about the use of the double screen divider board for splitting our hives this spring and about the amount of honey we were able to harvest. Then we've got a whole bunch of announcements, and then we'll go over what the bees are doing and what you should be doing or thinking about this time of year.
Sorry to take this away from you for a brief moment. Trying to fix the sound.
Okay.
So tell me the theory behind the double screen. I remember being here at the meeting where we did it. Jerry did one hive and somebody else did another hive. If I remember right, we raised a deep, we put the double screen board underneath it. And then we made sure there was no queen in that upper box. And then we added a queen to the upper box. And then so there was kind of like two existing hives. And then I guess at one point we took that off and put it on the bottom. I don't know, you're laughing at me like
I'm not laughing, I'm
Okay.
nodding, yes, that's
Okay,
exactly what we
so-
did. And so I will review that, and I have a figure or a picture that will help maybe remind everyone what we did.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry not to review what you were gonna say.
No, no,
I was
that's
just
great,
kind of curious.
absolutely. All right, are we ready?
Right.
Okay,
I'm
All right,
hoping it
so-
works.
so the double screen divider board, there's a lot of different ways in which you can build it, but essentially it's about this thick. And there's screening on the top and bottom so that when you put it between two hives, the queens can't interact, but they can share heat. So you can do this in the early spring when we still have cold evenings. And there's an entrance here for the bees to enter for the upper hive. So here is a screenshot from a video I took of Jerry. I think it was
I
20.
wonder who that old guy was.
So we did this during the pandemic, didn't we? Yeah, so I think we did this in 2020.
It's the same shirt and the same coat he's wearing right now.
Well, let me tell you, I looked at some 20-year-old pictures and I think it's. That was a little more bent over than.
So the original hive would have been, right, our two deeps. And then we did a normal split where you take resources and 3 to 4 to 5 frames of brood and we move everything up. And so the original hive, the split, the double screen divided board, this is the front of the hive. So when everything's in place, there's an entrance for all the original bees and foragers to return here. And then there's an entrance up here. And then we shook a bunch of bees from the original hive into the split because we know that the foragers, once they leave, you know, we're gonna go back into the bottom. So we loaded the split up with a bunch of captive brood. And then we had bees, made queens from Jerry and from Kevin. And we put the mated queens on top. And that's the general setup. You got questions about this part?
For some reason in my brain, I was thinking that we had to wait a week to see if we saw any eggs in the upper box. That way if we knew the queen wasn't there, or we didn't do this.
So if you couldn't find the queen,
Right,
then you would wait a couple of days
right.
to see where you see new eggs.
You shake all the bees off when you.
So, but if we didn't see the queen and Jared's an
And we
actual
found-
hunter, we figured, okay, we know the queen's gotta be in the bottom area, then you could add a queen at that time.
Yeah, so these pictures don't depict all of the steps, of course, that we
Right.
took. So we shook all the bees off, then we had a queen excluder. So prior to putting the divider board in, we had a queen excluder. So
I think when we did it, that's how I did it, cause I never can find the queen. But when we did it. in the
Yeah, we
water
were
here,
lucky.
we found the queen, so we just basically did that.
Yeah. but
So now where do you put the queen, queen excluder, where?
so if you can't find the queen on the day that you wanna do the split, instead of putting the divider board in right away, that's where you would put the queen excluder. You'd
Okay.
move the brood up, nurse bees would move up, the bees would populate all 3 boxes. But you would know for sure the queen was down here.
Because that's where the eggs are.
No, because we shook all the bees
Oh,
off the
okay,
frames
got it.
into these bottom boxes. And then we could wait a couple of days, 3 to 4 days, wait to see if you see any eggs up here that by chance somehow the queen squeezed her way up or something, you didn't get all the bees off. But normally it's effective shaking her off because she's pretty heavy. And then you would then put in your double screen
Got
divider board, add your newly mated queen into the split. Okay,
Because all you have up on the top now are young bees, and so they're going to accept that queen.
yeah,
And you get very good queen acceptance on.
yes, you don't have to worry about
Okay,
caging her that,
I missed the queen excluder part of it.
that's
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we found the queen for all 3 hives and we didn't have to wait.
Got it.
Okay. So if you've got more questions and you wanna see all the steps, we've got 2 videos. And they're on our YouTube channel, so it's Wasatch Beekeepers YouTube. And you just put in splitting a hive with Jerry and the videos will come up. And it should answer most of your questions. And if not, go ahead and email me questions and I can then email you at wasatchbeekeepers@gmail. And I can send them to Jerry. Answer all your questions. Okay, so what was the impact of doing this kind of split on honey production? So we split the hives second week in April. And then in May, we started adding deeps because these bees just went bonkers. And then we were adding honey supers as well. So for all of our hives, remember how tall they were? Some of them were 4 deeps tall plus 2 or 3 mediums added on top. And then we recombined the splits. So we took the original picture that you saw here. And I took out the queens because I didn't want them to fight it out. Jerry lets him fight it out and it has good success, but we took out the double screen divider board and we put paper down and let them acclimate the 2 populations. The idea is, and it seemed to work fabulously, is that when the nectar flow is on, that's when you recombine. Everybody's got a job, everybody's busy, and they're too busy to fight. And so you end up with this mega hive with lots of honey and lots of bees. So we recombined it when the nectar flow was up on the 2nd week of June. And then in July, Jerry and I extracted honey. And we got about 270 pounds from 6 hives. So my hives, in addition to the hives at the school. So that works out to be about 45 pounds of honey per hive. And then we extracted again in August. And we got about 43 pounds of honey per hive. And when a really well producing hive will produce 30 to 60 pounds of honey a year, we've already got more than 80, right? So then, and I don't know, maybe it was just the parameters, the environmental parameters that made it possible, but we left, and I did my final doors open. Oh, lemon, okay, I left the door open, I just supposed to, so they're going to be such a brat. I left 8 to 10 deep frames in the honey. So when we finished extracting in August, some of the hives were 2 deep, some of them were still 3 deep, boxes tall, and soon after that, I condensed everything down to 2 deeps. But in the 2 deeps that I left, there were 8 to 10 frames of honey. So the total amount of honey extracted is about 530 pounds. We left 60 to 75 pounds in the brood chamber. So that's another 360 to 450 pounds, depending upon how much honey was on each of those frames. And then I put a honey super bag on top of the hives because there were so many bees and they were still bringing in a lot of resources, and I didn't want them to get honey bound. And they filled up those honey supers, and they're going to overwinter with that instead of having a candy board. So another 32 pounds per hive. So for the total, for 6 hives, we have over 1,000 pounds of honey. The total honey produced per hive is 180 pounds, right? We extracted about 88 per hive, and we're leaving 92 on for winter and early spring. Then if there's leftover, you've got plenty for your splits in the spring to give them resources. So this is way beyond anything I've ever extracted before.
And considering the season that we had,
It was so dry.
that's incredible.
Yes. I'm hoping we didn't start
told
out as
you.
much as maybe. Huh?
I told you it was a good deal.
I know. So Jerry's been proposing this, why is it, everybody utilize this? And this is an especially good method. It controls swarming. It allows you to make loads of honey if that's one of your goals, without increasing the footprint of your apiary. As we started with 3 hives, we expanded to 6, now we're back to 3 again for winter.
Let me give you a young queen.
And then you've got your young queen, because the idea is if you let those queens fight it out, the younger one will survive. And as it happened, a lot of people that I was talking to this year had problems with their queens dying, and they had to requeen once, maybe twice. And all of the hives here, we cleaned up so they're all they're new queens going into winter. Any questions? Yeah.
About using the screen board to create a queen, just leave it without re-queening it, just let them build their own.
You could.
But you won't get a honey crop out of the plant.
So, but you can double your.
Right, if you wanted to, if you want to increase the number of hives you have,
Yeah.
the double screen bottom board is, I think, still really effective. Because when we split in April, we still get, snow, we get cold temperatures, and those cold snaps, the bees are protected in the small split because they're sharing the heat with the big colony underneath. Yeah, so you could still use it that way. But it will, because our springs are cold and then the heat of summer comes on and it's not the nectar flow, it will impact how much honey. But if that's not your goal, your goal is.
So when you put this double screen in, you go with the idea that you're creating another queen up there, you're putting a queen in. When you pull that, you put newspaper there, that eventually they're gonna eat through that in 3 or 4 days, and that the best queen is gonna survive, and you've got a super hive.
Yeah.
What if you want to just split it and make two hives?
You could do that too, so let's say you decide to requeen, but it's too cold, and you're worried about this little split surviving on its own. Keep it stacked on top of the other until the nighttime temperatures are warmer, and then move it. Like you would move a regular hive.
I suppose you can move it very far though.
Oh, sure. You plug it up. You move it to a new, I've even moved it just like around my garage. And I switched the orientation of their entrance, so if it was facing south before, I face it north or whatever. And put sticks or ivy, anything I have laying around the yard to provide a little bit of a barrier, so that forces the foragers to reorient when they come out of the hive.
Create a different visual map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with not moving my hives 3 miles away.
That's what you have.
You have a question?
It appears this is kind of a variation on the Demarest. Are you familiar?
Yes.
So instead of putting an empty box between, say that again.
That's what I used on the keeper's hive, the 8-frame, the chimney. Yeah, I moved brood, open brood up.
Right.
And cap brood down below, but I wasn't trying to, I wasn't introducing any coalitions.
I know with the Demarest, you put a empty in between top and the bottom instead of having just the double screen.
Right.
So-
There's a super.
Right.
Yeah. And that way the nurses move up and then there's this relatively empty space before they start putting honey in there, and so it gives the bees the illusion that they have a lot more space. Yeah. There was another question.
And when you have the upper box, that you put a bunch of frames with brood in them. I mean, all the workers that were with it are gonna leave and go to the lower box, right? Or someone to hang out.
The foraging bees will.
Yeah, but all the house.
Nurse bees.
The nurse bees will all stay there. Now, if you're having these cold nights, that could be enough to protect the brood that's up there.
It is,
It is okay.
yeah,
Bees in the bottom give off their
He's
heat.
coming up.
Yeah, heat goes up.
Okay.
yeah.
Counting that all.
Did any of the 6 hives have 2 queens?
What do you mean?
When they ate through the newspaper,
Yeah,
you have a hive with 2 queens. Did they all fight it out? Or, sometimes
I didn't let them fight it out.
you pinched them off?
No, I found new homes, No. So, actually, I only had to find a home for one, because 2 of the original hives. They requeened themselves, something happened to the queen. And they made their own queen. So we didn't go through that process here. And then with my hives, I found homes for them.
Yes. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, so the Damari method, you do generally have 2 queens
Only,
until those 3.
well, until, if you're gonna maintain all the bees. You might get more than 1 queen, but the idea with Demaray is that all of the new emerging brood is gonna be up top and all of the newly laid stuff is below. So you want to move all of that up, all of the sealed brood up top. All the nurses are gonna go to the top, take care of them. But you only have 1 queen usually unless you're trying to manage it to have more than 1. Because you don't have to, that you can do it with 1
And how
queen.
many honey supers do you put between? 3?
I think
One.
there's just 1 super in between. In the Damari, they talk about having 2 at the bottom, an empty one in between them, and then the one that you're moving all your brood up to the top. So there's something empty between, or it's got some comb in between so that they walk across the stuff, but there's a separation. And then the ones on top sometimes think that they are queenless. That's why they will start creating queens with the brood that's up top. They'll try to create a queen, but it's not because it's by design unless you're trying to do that, because you can do that too. It's just what you want to do with the Damari.
Yeah, and that method worked wonderfully. I got the little hive, the keeper's hive. I extracted 10 frames of honey on it. And it's only an 8-frame deep with 5 frames supers on. And I've left 20 frames or 10 frames on for the winter. So.
With a full Damari, I've heard, I've never done one, but you can get 150 to 300 pounds of honey out of them.
Yeah.
Because there's so many bees and they have room.
And it definitely takes more time.
Right.
Whereas using the double spin divider board, there's more time in the beginning, but then you have this mega hive.
And then when you pull that screen out, which is when the honey flow is coming in. The nurse bees then are only gonna have to take care of the eggs from 1 queen because you've gotten rid of 1 queen. And so any eggs that are laid in June, those bees are not gonna bring any honey in, because by the time they're old enough to be bringing honey in, the honey flows over. So I've used that for years, and really 2 years in 2024 was a terrible year. On 23, I had with my 4 hives in my backyard, I got 800 pounds of honey. And even this year, with had the 4 hives, I still got about 600 pounds. You make a lot of when you got all those extra bees, so that instead of doing nurse duties, are doing honey duties. So the ones that are no longer doing honey duties are now out collecting nectar. So they go step by step. So they don't go from nurse bee to field bee, they go from nurse bee to honey bee. They get back to the field.
So the big
Yeah.
takeaway in that is that you're building up so many bees into the colony that they have a lot that need to go out and collect resources for. Then you build up all the honey. And that's what it's for.
Any other questions, comments? All right. So we'll probably do that again next year with our hives. All right, so let's do.
You can just finance the club with honeymoon.
Yeah, so some of the things that we've done with the club honey so far is we've donated it to the Rose Park Garden. They had a summer event. We donated a bunch of honey to them, and we donated honey to Jerry. He did everything at his house. And then I'm going to be donating a bunch because I have a cottage license and a food handler's license to the several food banks.
Those are gonna be fancy food things now.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And last night we had our soap making workshop and it was a lot of fun. I didn't take many pictures. Hopefully I'll be getting some pictures from other people who were there. But everybody made a loaf. The loaf is about this big, it's a pound of soap. And it was made out of olive oil, about 2 teaspoons of beeswax. Beeswax is what helps the soap remain its rigid structure. And then we added, let's see, coconut oil, sweet almond oil, palm oil, honey, and
the 1 teaspoon of honey.
and yes, and the honey, and then there was a bunch of essential oils that you could add if you wanted to. And the room smelled heavenly.
It's all lye. Don't forget the lye.
Oh, yeah, and then of course, there's lye, so it takes a while for it to mature, so all the lye is gone. And this is Teresa. Teresa's recently retired from Utah State University Extension Office, and she did a fabulous job. And she said that she has a variety of other things that she could do as workshops. People wanted to do creamed honey, make lotions, lip balm, honey face scrubs.
Yeah, bring her back, she's great.
Yeah, or to another soap workshop, so in the future. All right, so our next big shindig is the banquet. And that is Saturday, November 8th. And as always, we have our elections. And we're gonna have a silent auction, so if you've got items that you would like to donate, they could be bee related. They could be, if you've got a honey extractor, for example, you could auction off having someone come and extract their honey with you, or make spaghetti and have a meal together. So it could be experiential, it could be stuff for pets, for children, adults, it doesn't have to be just bee related. We've been collecting a variety of materials. And if you bring something, obviously, if you didn't bring something tonight and you have something to prepare for the silent auction, when you arrive at the banquet, they'll hand you a bid sheet and you can fill it out. Like, what is the estimated value, for example. And then be sure to bring a jar of your honey. We're gonna, instead of having a contest, we're going to organize the honey by region in Utah, so you can sort of taste different neighborhoods and see how the honey changes over geographic space. Alrighty, so the next and the most important thing is elections. And we had put a survey into the October newsletter that people filled out. And one of the questions was, why did you join? Or what is preventing you from joining? So our newsletter goes out to 500 people. It includes all the paid members and then people who go to our website and sign up for the newsletter. And so I just put in some of the responses that we received. That they've received a lot of support from the WBA, so they want to reciprocate. They want to be involved in something local and network and learn how to be a better beekeeper. Nobody mentioned what was preventing them from joining, why we don't have over 500 members. But, and what is the most valuable service that the club provides? We had a lot of comments about mentoring program, the education and networking opportunities. And the last question that I was going to share with you guys was, how would you most enjoy serving the WBA? And it was interesting because we had some people, say, well, I don't know enough. But we've got people interested in educating youth about bees, to be a mentor, like for these different specialty hives, like the Apame hive. Or we had a lot of people comment something to the effect of they want to share a board physician, which is something that we are encouraging to sort of take some of the fear out of you don't know enough or you're not organized enough, or you don't know if you can attend all the meetings. So share a position, that would make it easier, and we're totally open to that. So what we want to do tonight is we want to facilitate or start the conversation about people running for different positions. So in our bylaws, the elected positions are the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, program chairs, and public relations chair. So for example, we haven't had a public relations chair since 2015. And so that's why we have all of these social media coordinators who just take one little piece, and we can still do that. The member at large positions, even though they're not outlined in the bylaws, they're absolutely critical for the functioning of the club and the services that we provide, like the swarm coordinator. Julie Arthur is going to continue on in that position, but she wants to have someone else sort of shoulder some of the work because she gets thousands of phone calls, and then she has to, quickly pair them up with someone who's signed up on the swarm list, who's in that geographic space. Mentoring coordinator, the apiary coordinators. I've been doing it by myself since we started having the hives. But it'd be great to have two people share that position. Utah State Fair coordinators, I was going to stay on since I've already made a bunch of contacts at the fair and I've got it sort of nailed down, but share it with someone and then eventually that person can take the lead. We have a new beekeeper position, and that's just essentially what it sounds like. It's someone who has a hive, met in April, but hasn't done beekeeping before. And you attend board meetings and you make sure that we address the questions that new beekeepers have instead of just the questions that experienced beekeepers might be interested in. And that's how I started out in 2019. And I learned a tremendous amount of information just sitting in the board meeting, hearing people chit chat about, different problems in their hives or different speakers that they listen to. So it is a really great way to get a lot of information. And then we have an education program that's really starting to ramp up again since COVID. And Jen Hein is gonna stay on as the coordinator, but she would like 3 or 4 people to coordinate with, right? And share ideas and create new educational materials. So far, we've had, I think, 14 emails from different schools all across the valley who are all interested in having someone come and talk in the spring. So people are getting interested again. The reason why I put the president and VP together is because we want them to coordinate and work as a team. So in the bylaws, the idea is the president is a president for 1 year, and then the person who's VP moves into that position. And what we want to facilitate more is not having just one person who kind of shoulders the burden of everything. Because as the club does more in the state of Utah and has all of these different programs, it's more than one person can do and still have fun. So fun is the name of the game here. I was hoping there would be some people from here. It's here, excellent. Do you want to?
Just in time.
Just time, do you want to talk a little bit about the education program? What, like just 1 minute, you know, what you do and.
Yeah, so I guess we used to do this kind of thing before COVID. Where we would go into schools, elementary schools, I don't know what age groups they did then, but I don't know how it came up, but I volunteered to kind of figure out something to do with that, now, and so I started out kind of trying to accumulate different. I wanted to make it as easy as possible for a lot of people, not just me, to go into schools, like, here's a kit, you know, it's got a bunch of stuff in it. Use whatever you want, just make sure it ends up back. Yeah, so I've been acquiring things like books, got big posters, we've got, I mean, I put together a little game to teach about pollination. Some like flashcards, you know, I've just got a bunch of stuff in there and I'm kind of slowly trying to think of other things to add to it, but my hope is that we will get kind of a team together. In fact, the latest request was from like Utah County. I mean, it was far away, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in this county, and I thought, do we even go out that? Like, if we had people in that area, great, but we don't right now. We just have me. So, and I think I met with one group in the Avenues. There was one school out in Magna. There was one school around here. I think I met with four kids. Generally their ages are 2nd and 3rd grade-ish. That is a big difference between these. What was that? 3rd graders have a section on these. Yeah, and I went to Liberty Park and did that. Did you? Presentation. Okay. 3rd graders. Oh, tell me your name. Very good. Oh, that wasn't. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I did one. Yeah, okay.
And then Jared did.
Yeah, Jared Lee did one, and that was like for a summer. There was like 6 kids, but
Start doing.
just last year.
Because years ago, I did that at the open classroom where my grandkids were.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It is fun. It's really fun. And you can do whatever you want, really. You don't have to follow my particular program. I have very detailed, you know, thing you can follow if you're that kind of person, or you just want to wing it, you know, you can walk in there with a bee suit on and a smoker and just talk about what you do as a beekeeper, or you can go into the science behind it and do, you know, just put that in there. But it is really fun, and I just kind of hope to get enough people together and kind of a wide range, like, you know, where people, because I don't want to go to Magna every time. You know, it's like too far. We get someone out there in Magna that can do that great. You know, a little bit south, a little bit north, whatever. So think about it, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to give you more details. Do you have any questions now?
So you already have some experience put together though.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Good. So I think I tossed mine a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a bin, and yeah, I'm still, now that I've done a few, I'm like, this is a little. I thought it would be like one class at a time. A lot of times it's 3 classes, so that's a lot of kids. So the ideas that I had in my head aren't working quite as well as I thought they would, with such a large group of kids. So I'm revamping, but you know, like I said, you just do whatever you want. Whatever suits your fancy.
You extended in a sort of communication of the STEM. No science, technology, and mathematics. They have a huge common distribution of kids. And what they actually have that money for that. So they might be going.
Those kits that we found from the University of Minnesota,
Yeah.
those were actually really cool. But they were like $100 each. You're like, well, let's get our own.
I'm primarily. A lot of. Profit.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if I could get it that big. I don't know if I even know how to do
It's
it.
just.
but, Yeah,
It's done, so.
yeah, okay, great. Excellent. Anybody else?
I'm interested.
Okay, all right, well, you're gonna have an opportunity, we filter information. But yeah, so when you guys, if you wanna nominate yourself, nominate someone else, send it to Wasatch, there's an email. And if you got questions or suggestions, then I can hook you guys up.
And can I just do a title like maybe super slash overall education program, and just kind of do like a little brief thing, but almost.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do. This is what I used to do with my students is take 2 minutes and talk to your neighbor. About which positions you're most interested in doing. And you can choose anything, under ideal situation. What do you think you would like to do and how would you like to be involved? Think about the commitment, so yeah, so just talk to your neighbor.
Could I ask?
Yes. Oh, what?
A short question.
I'm both
So I'm not really what
I
those
don't know much
positions
English is in
would entail, like program chairs.
Okay, do you not read news?
You're gonna be the latest one. Because I.
So in the October newsletter, I wrote extensively about each of us.
Only had a newsletter. You only had a newsletter.
If you only had a newsletter, so I will recap. The president usually does the talking, but it would be awesome if everybody on the board were to do something to shake it up a bit, not be so boring. The VP is there to support the president. So the president usually comes up with the ideas. For the board meeting, like, what does that person think is most important? You obviously gotta get the reports from every other board member, but you can have influence, just like every other board member, in terms of what can we focus on, what programs do we offer, what do we do as a club? So they're thinking about a lot of ideas of what kind of program do we wanna have, as well as the program chair. So the program chair, and I'm also one of the program chairs. Comes up with the workshops, the stuff we do in the aviary, stuff for the banquet. Bringing in speakers. Okay, so we do the legwork with that. And then secretary takes in notes during the meeting. They also send and develop the agenda, which is just a bunch of formatted stuff, send it to the president, vice president. They can look at it, add to it, everyone has an opportunity to comment on the agenda and add stuff. And then once the meeting's over, then you clean up your notes and you send it out so everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing for that month. The treasurer does the taxes, they have to go to the bank and be on the bank account. They keep track of things that come in through Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo. And when you get back and you have a chance to read the newsletter, usually the secretary and the treasurer will take the lead on one of the community events that we do, and we do a lot of different community events, you know, like Lake Run Festival, pollinator party, and there's all, we participated in 10 events this year. And then public relations chair is the one who's supposed to put together the newsletter, so I currently do that. And they're supposed to coordinate things, keep track of what's happening on Facebook, post things on Instagram, because apparently only the farts use Facebook. So that's what they do. The mentoring coordinator, we've got this pretty well organized, where when people fill out the membership form, that's why everybody has to fill it out every year, is then it fits nicely into putting in addresses into Google Maps, and then we can easily pair up. Instead of having to do it by hand, figuring out what the map is closest to whom. So it's talking to mentors, getting letting mentors know what types of things they should provide, how much time they should spend. Ideally, the mentee should be coming to the mentor's house as well to be working in their hive. You know, rather than the mentor always traveling and spending 3 or 4 hours with their mentees. And that's all that's involved. You're just keeping track it's, you know, it builds up in April, May and June, and then it kind of peters out. And then the apiary coordinators, which I also do, it's, you take care of all the in-between inspections, light treatments. You know, basically just keeping everything organized and then making sure all the tools and everything are available when we have our meeting. State fair coordinator. It's a lot of stuff. It's the state fair, and then you heard from Jen. The education. Okay, so talk to the people in your row about how you would like, what would be your ideal position, and start brainstorming. What position would you be interested in?
So is program chairs and chairs in charge of ladybug programs? Who is in charge of speakers?
So that would be speakers, we bring in speakers, so Ashley and I.
Program chair?
So Ashley and I are program chairs, I'm not gonna do it next year, Ashley's gonna stay on. And yeah, so we reach out to people, whether it's stuff we're reading in Bee Culture, or American Bee Journal, or we see people at other conferences. Or, you know, books that they put out, local people, yeah, so initially.
Where is like the ladybug?
So
planning those
community events, we do that as a board. And we try to,
But doesn't have like a position.
it does not have a position. And so taking the lead just means you get all the stuff out of the storage unit. And you're in charge of the other volunteers that are there,
Up and.
setting out, taking down, and making sure it gets put away. And that, you know, things that get broken, that gets noted and we buy something to replace it type of thing. And there's more information in those.
So when you say that you need 3 people for some coordinators, is it 3 different platforms or just 3 people who work?
So we have 2 people right now who monitor Facebook, because we get a lot of spam, a lot of people who want to sell bees. And then they're just taking people's money. We had that problem last year for a little bit. So we had 2 people on Facebook and 1 person, I think it was Jen for a while, trying to keep up with Instagram. So, but we could have just 1 person, you know, if someone really just wants to hang out on Facebook and Instagram and take. I'm hoping this person will take pictures, because I can never remember to take pictures at events. And just post things and try to increase the visibility of the club. All right, now you
Good.
I don't necessarily think we're going to be. Yes.
I've been
just think.
I would end up-
What I do.
I only got lunch from them. Yeah, five.
And what's the video? That's the but I had.
You know, you should go, you know.
I should want to. Hard stay out. What your ideal, so that, now I'd like you to talk to you about, who do you think? Would be best. Oh, so instead of talking about interest, start thinking about who do you think should be effective in, yeah, pros and really hard and nominate. It's
Nicole, is that okay to have that on the bottom? Okay.
Well, that's the word I kind of bring this, you know, trying to pull. Yeah, I got.
Alright, so conversation seems to be in place.
So I'm back in.
So I'm just gonna open it up because I've never done this before. No, Matt. I was Matt. Okay,
Pull them out.
so if you are interested in a position, raise your hand and we'll put your name down and I'll record this. The official voting obviously doesn't happen until the banquet. And at the banquet, those people who are nominated will give like a 1 minute elevator speech. I don't mean speech, I mean, you're gonna talk. Well, what you bring, right? What's your background or why you wanna do it or any of those things. It doesn't have to be anything super formal, super serious, no resumes necessary. Okay?
Do you wanna drum up business while I be your scribe?
You're good at that. You are the best cheerleader.
Oh, yeah, well, that's my calling. So anybody wanna nominate themselves or someone else for a position?
I nominate Owen Perry for president.
Yeah. I second it. There you go.
Anybody else interested?
But Owen enthusiastically about that, I'm like,
That's a normal Tuesday for me. Oh, I've ever really taken Wednesday. That's not just.
And of course, there's lots of people who aren't here this evening. Nominations continue until we vote at the banquet. Anybody else interested?
And I thought the president was the last year's vice president.
Yes. And this year's vice president is Kevin, and are you interested in running for president?
I think I'd more like to stay vice president because of the WhatsApp and
I know.
so maybe I gotta have a technical thing.
All right, do you accept the nomination for vice president? So we've got. Anybody else interested? Just because there's one name up there. It's good to have some competition. Anybody interested in being secretary? Nobody has a burning desire. Treasurer. Secretary and treasurer are probably the two easiest positions. Thinking about it. Which one? Okay,
thinking,
this is all just.
You could
Thank
put
you.
Rosemary in parentheses.
but I also want to be one of your coordinators over there.
Well, good, well, that's so good. I'm good, you're really good. You're a guy. Over there.
And you were also thinking? I was thinking, but if you have three, that's all right, I don't have to do it. More the merrier. And you're Jen, right? Yep. Yeah. One in or two in? Two ends. Yes.
It is one or the other.
All right, either way, it's fine. Since Jen Hine is two ends, we'll leave you with one end right now, so I don't forget. So Ashley's gonna stay on as program director. Someone else would be interested in finding speakers. Coming up with things that you wanna do for the workshops.
I was interested in speakers, but I cannot do all of the hall stuff for events and.
Okay, well, that is why we're gonna get more people involved. To make each position easier.
As my limits time.
I don't see any gray hair.
But. I'm 70, so I'm older than you, and so is she.
Anybody else interested in contributing to types of topics that we discuss at our monthly meetings? Public relations, anyone want to take care of the newsletter? Outreach with, like, we send out a letter to fire department, police department. About what to do with swarms, would contact us.
I nominate Denise. But I'll have to ask her if she'll do it, because she's down in Orem now and not gonna drive out the garden.
Oh, okay. Anybody else?
I will consider public relations, but let me think.
All right, this is just to get people thinking.
Gotta go home and read through all of them. I am interested in education.
Oh, excellent.
I'll be your assistant of the apiary.
Remind me your name, Tom?
I'm David.
David.
Bradman. But I don't wanna do it, I'll just be your, I'm not gonna say this to me, I'll be your bitch, okay, so that's just. I'm just, I'll be your.
I'm glad we stopped recording, right? And what's your last name?
Brad. So you can tell me what to do or how to treat, and I'll come to it.
He's diligent.
David?
Brad.
Yes, indeed.
No, don't, my wife, may look at this. Okay.
All right, so, having someone else with, working with David would be great. Yeah,
I'll go in parentheses.
you'll think about it. And Jed? All right, what's your first? I'm sorry. Remembering. And then.
So careful. Which is.
I bet the three of us can get it done.
That's fantastic.
Talk to Dan's about.
Anybody wanna work with, so Julie's gonna stay on.
Your presentation.
I'll join Julie.
Right here.
And presentations.
He's up already.
Really?
I'll have to join Julie.
Uh,
I thought the role of new BD pretty well this year.
What about you help, Sarah's good?
mentor?
Or swarms, if you need it, I don't know,
More.
I hope for you.
Thank you all. I know.
So you can be Jen with two ends and I'll be Jen with one end.
Narrow that down.
And then,
You can call me Jenny, put Jenny down.
with a Y?
Yep, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I am not a Jen.
You know what, I'm gonna become one now. It's gonna be a new thing for me, so.
Right, embrace it. So we need a nomination to invite this, it's not like you're fully committing right now, but you're putting yourself out there. Someone who will, just talk to new beekeepers, hook them up with a mentor. It's Henry.
It's easy, I did that too, it's easy. It's a little bit, I like a short amount of time.
So is Henry interested in continuing on with the mentorship?
No, he travels, he and his wife are just traveling, so they are vagabonds right now.
If you're good with spreadsheets. That's helpful.
Yeah, if you know how to use Excel, then you can.
And I agree, and I don't know how, I still can do it, but that's kind of a major, that's probably the most major part of it. That and just being able to read two people, being kind of texting.
Spreadsheets are easy, so.
Would you like to be around? Was this volunteer?
It wasn't, but I could probably
Oh,
maybe help.
maybe, don't tell me, right.
Henry is online too.
Oh, is he? Hi, Henry.
Put me down with Camille for education too. I'm all the way down in Utah County, so.
Well, there you go.
Say
yes to that.
I'm in Draper, right on the edge of Utah County, so. I'm in Utah County, and Draper is in Utah County and in Salt Lake County, and then I'm on the Utah County side.
This program, oh, it's Spanish, or, yeah, what is that? Yes, that one I can't do that.
Okay.
Will you erase me, please? Yep.
Anybody? So we need somebody to be secretary. We need at least another person to work with Ashley.
Well, I always take notes, let it give you secretary. You're already doing the job.
I'm very good at taking notes.
I nominate Camille.
Do you accept the nomination?
Like I said, I'll think about it, but if I do that, then I can't do everything.
No, you wanna start small.
Life is pretty full already. Figures are young.
It's funny that you're retired, remember, we're all workers. All right, so, yes, these are gonna do all the public relations stuff, we signed up for secretary. The education will be,
The education will be a lot, sir, I would think, but I'm gonna be nominated for secretary, and I think I need to be. I'll handle that for you. So here I am being secretary.
Anybody else?
Put me down also on the Utah State Fair coordinator. If you don't mind, specimen.
You're already heavily involved.
You bring the beans.
You bring the needs.
I'm the one with observation hive,
No, you gotta be on the.
so I've actually. I think my observation hive has been there now for about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's
So you
actually,
already have that job also.
I think even longer than that, Kevin.
sorry, what was that?
I think you've been there longer than, you're right, longer than that.
I think it has been, but I know it's at least been there 12 years.
Well, it's a highlight.
Well, you don't have the Facebook and.
Well, that's under. Paradise.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot them.
Is that under public relations?
It should be, but we have them separated because nobody has the
Do
time.
you want me to nominate?
I was
Sure.
talking about it, or you have to think about it on social media. Specifically, it's.
Well, don't we have at least another couple hundred people that we could walk off to a
You would hear stuff. We have over 5,000 people on Facebook, over 500 people who receive the newsletter and don't read it. And
You got me earlier.
what's it?
Rebecca, so I am another Rebecca, but you can put me down as Bex, BEX.
Yeah, my mom would never let me be called Bex.
I'm the youngest of 6, I got called everything.
All right, well, this is a good start. And that way, I don't have to badger people during the banquet to get nominations. But if you think of other people,
I'm nominating Denise for social media also. And I'm asking Susan what she might wanna do.
okay, excellent. All right, so in the remaining time. Can you turn this back up?
What I was about to do.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Skip ahead.
And I have to set back up for some.
Did I get kicked off the Zoom?
Possibly.
Daughters.
Zoom is really good at sound from.
Oh, that's cool. It's because I'm at an angle on here with this camera.
Okay, so
You have to
there we go.
get sharing going again.
Yeah. All right, so around the apiary, what's going on? Hopefully you've already treated for mites. You've taken off the honey supers that you plan to take off and you leaving whatever it is you decided to leave on. Make sure you remove your queen excluders so that the queen doesn't get left behind as the bees migrate out. And you probably noticed this, but the population is shrinking. You'll see drones hanging out, begging to come back in. Poor guys. They kicked out, they only last a couple of days. My hives are loaded with propolis and I have a mite treatment on Life bar, which is the menthol, eucalyptus and thymol. And I'll be taking that off on Sunday, but I'm not going through any of my boxes anymore. So hopefully you've already, unfortunately, everything I'm talking about, hopefully you've already done it to set up your hive for winter. But as long as we get some warm days, if you break that propolis seal, those warm days will help make the propolis gooey again and it will seal just fine. And leave as much propolis as you can in your hive because it naturally has all of these microbial properties. It's antibacterial, fungal, and viral. So that will be added protection for your hives. And then you may, if you don't normally use smoke, this might be a good time to start using it because it's cold and you're opening their hive and they're cranky and they're going to be super defensive of their resources. All right, so there's two general ideas of what you do to set up your hive for winter. One is everybody wants there's just a camp that says the brood should be on the bottom and the second brood box should be full of honey and pollen.
You don't do what I tell them.
They don't do it, yeah.
They just have their own plans.
And every year, you probably notice the bees, they all move up by August. Even though it's still really hot, they're still bringing in plenty of resources. And so I'm in the camp where I think bees know what they're doing. So if they're up, I leave them up. They're down, I leave them down. And then I just, the only manipulations that I make is making sure I have 4 frames of honey in each of the bees, making sure I have pollen and that pollen has a variety of colors so that we know that there is a variety of nutrition there. You know, they're not just eating yellow honey or yellow pollen and just getting like Wonder Bread all winter long. They've got a variety of amino acids. And this year I'm leaving a honey super on and seeing how it goes instead of putting the candy board on. So I figured that's more nutritious. That honey's gonna have pollen in it.
Okay, it's an edgy. How big are your hives over winter?
All of my leg straw hives are 2 deeps.
Just 2.
2 deeps and then a honey super on top. And then the keeper's hive is only 8 frame deep. And then I have 2 5-frame boxes with honey.
I struggle to. In the fall, I open up the hives and look in there and I just. It's full. If I take off boxes, where are they gonna go? It's like,
Yeah, that's
that's what
so that, yes, so I've had in the past where all summer and into fall, I'm still at about 3 deeps.
Yeah.
And I shake them all down.
I'll just get cozy.
Yep.
I'm still.
Because you're gonna have a pretty big attrition because you've got your new bees and you've got your summer bees still. And your summer bees are gonna start dying off. And having that smaller space means everybody has to work a lot less to create heat for the entire colony. And then as that attrition happens and we get into January and February, your population is gonna be at its lowest.
So it's only if you crowded for a month or so.
Yeah.
So what do you have in your honey super?
Say what?
What do you have in your honey super?
Honey.
Just, I mean, you're putting 4 frames in there, you're putting What are you putting in?
So on the lace drop hives, I put in 10 frames of honey.
Right,
And I just put in empty frames and they filled it in August.
Okay.
And I did that because my root chambers were full, bursting with honey.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's all honey that they put in there, so I didn't have to like store it and then stick it in there.
because I took off, after I spun the frame, somebody said, well, you put that on top for a while and they'll move it all down, so I haven't taken off that honey super that was spun, but it'll have a lot of honey in it, and I'm now, in the next day or two, gonna take it off, but that's just.
Good luck. That's gonna be full of honey. Yep.
Well,
You only leave it on for like a day.
Well, okay, well, I blew that one.
Or we did, right? Because
Well, obviously they're on.
just make sure you don't have a queen excluder between your super and your deeps
Yeah,
and leave it on.
okay, well,
Yeah,
might understand that if you have honey up top, they'll move it down.
they'll move it all over the place. They'll move it where they want it, yeah.
Whenever they want it, well, use sloppy, sticky supers.
No,
Yeah.
no,
And they
no,
put it back in the same.
Yeah.
cells, like-
So the weak colonies, which I've put combined with the strong colonies, they'll move that honey down.
If there's space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if there's room. This time of year, I don't think they do a lot of moving.
I understand.
So if you had done that when we were still getting warm, really warm daytime and warm evening temperatures, there seems to be more movement. You got anything to add, Jared? From all your experience?
When you're, when you're putting weak hive on a strong hive, they probably won't move that much honey around. Because if it's capped, they'll leave it where it is.
Oh,
They won't open it up unless they're gonna use it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're more likely to move it than my experience if it's open and if it's warm.
yes.
Yeah, if it's cold, they're in there shivering, trying to keep warm.
All right, queen excluder removed. If you're going to use, if you're gonna supplement, you wanna supplement feed, make sure you have your shim. It's either, candy board that's not this deep, or you can have construct a more shallow board to stick those sugar pucks into. See where. I recommend everyone put on mouse guards. I'm being overrun by mice right now, and it could be because I have a compost pile, but we've had products here.
That'll do it.
Yep,
So those mouse guards, they're smaller, but they're all the way across the bottom. Is that gonna let too much cold air into your hive?
what you could do, I don't use like a wooden entrance reducer, I just use a piece of insulated foam board.
Okay,
So you could put in a piece of insulated foam board, say 3/4 the way across, if you wanted just, 2 or 3 inches. Opening, and then use a tack or a little nail to secure your mouse guard.
and do you use the metal mouse guards or do you use the plastic mouse guards?
I've used the metal ones.
Okay.
I also use the metal queen excluders because the space between the bars is wider and it's round instead of square, and so there's less rubbing on the wings, feet.
And so the little mouse guards I have, like the bottom, I haven't used them, I used a plastic one last year. But they have like little things across the bottom, is that what, like it's a metal strip? What does your mouse guard look like?
You're describing.
It's like Swiss cheese. It's like a little piece of metal and then there are holes
Okay,
drilled through it. And then it's got like a flange on the side that I can secure it to the hive.
okay. I was just thinking that metal's gonna get so cold, those poor bees are gonna be freezing from the metal. No,
The metal's not touching them, metal's here, they're up here,
but when they come in, I guess it doesn't matter.
they don't come and go during the winter.
Not unless it's Plus degrees.
But that happens in Utah, we get 50.
They'll be out when it's 40 degrees, and they have to come out, right? It has to, they don't show that as winter, they have to release themselves as they fly. But I haven't
But
noticed.
it doesn't cool down the rest of the hive when the cold air goes past that level.
No, and if you've got your bottom board, whether it's wood or like that.
So you're bringing
Yeah, it's the corrugated plastic.
right.
That'll keep the wood from dry, yeah, you're not gonna get a lot, especially if you use something to block most of that entrance.
Okay.
You keep your screen bottom board on,
Sorry,
you keep your screen bottom board on.
I do.
Yeah, put cover over it.
And then I just insert some of my hives have wood inserts, some of them I just use like. It's good place for them. Yeah.
But also with the mouse guard, are you kind of careful to remove it, say once a week, to remove all the dead bees from the mortuary bees as well?
Is that what you gotta do? Okay.
Yeah, and that's true with your entrance reducer, you know, you gotta every so often use like just a stick or an old spatula to make sure that you're not blocking the entrance if you have a lot of bees dying inside.
Are upper entrances necessary?
No, so when I first started beekeeping, the mantra was ventilation, wet bees are dead bees. And the data does not support that. Yes, wet bees are dead bees, but ventilation, and this is, for me, it was a good visual, is you have a bunch of windows open on the top floor of your house and you have the front door open. And so you're getting this movement of air. There's no way you're gonna maintain a comfortable temperature. So the way to deal with condensation is super insulate the lid. Insulate the sides of the hive less. So for example, I used the hive hugger crown. So we had I'm blanking on her name, the woman who started the insulator.
She gave the presentation here last year.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
The condensing hive, right?
So it's a 3/4 inch foam board that has an insulative R value 32. And then I wrap the rest of the hive in 2-inch foam board that I get from Lowe's or whatever. And it has an R value of 9 or 10. So that way, as you get convection going on inside the hive, as hot air rises, touches the top, it's still warm, and then it comes down the sides and cools, you get condensation on the sides. Right, but that's really important because bees cannot metabolize the honey or the pollen without water. They have to have water, just like every other organism, which means they're gonna have to leave less to forage for water. And then you have the back of the hive tilted up a little bit so that if you by chance have some cooling, the water drains out the front. And that has worked really well. I used the hive hugger for the first time last winter, and my populations were active all winter long, and they came out of winter really strong. Population sizes were larger than I've ever had.
yeah.
So cardboard has a very low insulative value. Tar paper, very low insulative value. Some people use blankets, that's not gonna be. What you really want is something really warm on top. And then you can figure out what you want on the sides. So if you want an R value 32 and you don't wanna buy the hive hugger crown, you could go and, you know, buy the pink foam.
1 or 2 layers on top.
And then, yeah, you just keep stacking it up until you get the R value that you want.
Right now, pharmacies were getting vaccines and they're coming in these big foam boxes that are like 2 inches thick. So if you go to your local pharmacy and you want some of that foam for free, just talk to them and say, hey, can I have, when you get your vaccines in, because like I said, they come in these big boxes of thick foam, and then you just take a hot knife and slice it to fit around and strap it around. But you can, right now is the time to do that. This is where we're getting all of our vaccines in. Now's the time if you want that free foam insulation to strap around your hives.
That's great, it's expensive, because foam's expensive.
And when you cut it, so we just take our torch and light a slicer and cut it, it smells terrible, so do it else. It's horrible.
Yeah, but if you use that heavy blade, then you don't get all that.
Right, you don't get the mess, it just slices right through it.
Alright, so. There's always this big discussion about how much honey to leave on. Guys have any thoughts about that? Like,
It's not just food, it's insulation. Round up.
yeah. Honey is very valuable.
I watched a YouTube video recently where if it was very well insulated and they were able to manage their heat and temperature and stuff inside, getting their moisture from the edges like you're talking about, those that are very well insulated will use less honey through the winter because they're not trying to keep themselves warm. They're able to get by with less of the sugars. They don't have to convert it.
That's
So. Let's get on. If for some reason your hive is still light. You could try still feeding them 2 to 1. Your options are to stack your hives.
What do you mean by
hive on
light?
top?
What do you mean by light?
If your hive weighs less than 800 pounds.
You mean the honey reserves in the hive?
Like if you were to tip the hive, some people weigh their hives and they're less than about 100 pounds.
It's the honey that makes it heavy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so.
okay,
Sorry, they shrink from the back.
okay, well, I'm not finding honey, I just wonder if I
Yeah,
should.
it's hooked up to his computer, so you can use the whole thing.
If they're still taking it, I would feed them.
Yeah, they're eating me out of house and home, they're taking so much.
Why do some bees not go for syrup? My son-in-law has 2 hives and they are not good. I mean, mine are drinking a gallon a week.
Right,
and
right.
And
Snobs.
Do you put a little bit of like honey be healthy in?
I do. a
I
little
do a
bit
little
of-
bit of that.
they
Alright, we
do.
talked about that. Okay,
They just don't. You can do it.
did anyone get left out, since we did not have a candy board workshop this year? I just thought I'd share this. I was hoping Julie would get back to me, she knows the amounts, but these are the ingredients for the candy board.
I think the recipe.
Oh, you have the recipe? I'll put it, you know, that she's.
I'll send it to you.
Alright, so any last questions, comments? Yeah.
I've got a question about sort of funding when it comes to some clubs, I've been to, like in the wintertime, it's super helpful to have that thermonuclear, that thermal camera possibility. So here's something, since the club raises so much honey, they could sell it in certain spots throughout the city. They could acquire some funding so that they could lend it to certain members. I would think that'd be something to consider.
Cause I actually have a scope, cause my husband, just retired, but he was an enologist and he studies small mammals, so he has a thermal scope on his gun, so he can shoot bats. So he doesn't really use it, the gun is. I don't even think we have the gun, I have the scope, so that's something, yeah.
Will it take a thermal image of the hive? Nice.
Yeah. I just
You're talking about that.
pointed it from my bedroom window and look at my hive and I see where the birds are.
Oh, wow, really? We are all jealous.
And can you see them, shaking in the cluster?
No, you just see that the color.
But it's super helpful, it's super helpful to see how big the hive is.
Huh?
It's super helpful to see how big the hive is on the.
How big your inside cluster is.
On the scan. But also if you shape, if you push it around just a slight amount, towards the back of it, you'll also get an idea for the weight of the hive. And that's important to do kind of on a regular basis. Like
Okay,
once a week, stand in the back of it and very gently, barely even push it, but get an idea for how much it weighs. Because one of the worst signs is if they'll suddenly lose a bunch of weight. That either means that bees will, and they will swarm in November, just so you know, they will. So-
Is it from space or from,
Could be for
Like
mites, could be for
mites,
driving
okay.
factors, right, could be another queen. That type of thing, so those are the different things to consider.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I'm a big fan of the stethoscope.
Oh, yeah,
If
to
you can
listen.
find those, you can tell where they are and you have a rough idea of how big and like $8.
Yeah.
Go get one of those.
Club has one.
Somebody has one, yeah, they're $8. Stethoscope.
I put on my iPad last year. Says I knew that the girls were alive all year.
I knew.
Yeah, I don't know how, yeah, wireless, I have a little thing inside, and sometimes it would get cold in there. And it'd be like, ooh, it's 39 girls.
Probably.
I hope you're not right on that.
Probably a thermal app you can get.
Yeah. Excellent.
This year I have 4 brood.
Every year we have extra.
I had so much. fun.
Lots of different things that coming out.
All right, yes.
I want to bring up one other topic. I was at EAS in Delaware a couple years, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and Dr. Spivak was there. She gave a really good talk about throughout Minnesota, Wisconsin, there were sort of, they would approach companies, mid-sized to higher sized companies that would have sustainability budgets. And so beekeepers would reach out to companies, and some of them would bite on different arrangements. You never discussed the financial side. But this is a good sized city. There are companies
To
listed.
get donations for.
No, just to have, well, a couple different ways, I guess, donations and also just having bees on their premises.
Yes, okay.
And with a cut of either, some companies want that active participation, some don't, some want the bees there, some may not.
Right.
So some beekeepers could, this could be a moneymaker for the club or for individual, beekeepers themselves.
That's a great idea.
And, or some companies they'll want to rent them,
Right?
some companies do that too. They don't want to touch it, but they'll fund something of
Yeah,
it.
I'll try to remember to write that down so that the next board, they have a list of things to think about when I first start up. Excellent. Any other comments? Suggestions? Yeah.
I didn't, one of my times, I didn't get my screen board off and a solid board put on. And I don't know now, it's as cold as it is, you have to hold it to a car, fill and lift it to swap the spot board out. And
Right.
Then too late, it's gonna freeze by the.
Why don't you, do you have a group or a place to put in, a slot at the bottom of your screen? Something to slide
Yeah,
something
but
underneath?
it's not very solid, I mean, it doesn't fit tight, it's not like,
No.
You can put it on both.
Well, where are you?
East Mill Creek.
Okay. So you should want the sign. Yeah, I just use the corrugated plastic from,
Yeah.
political signs that are left after the event for, fun runs. We're gonna be having the turkey trot soon. And you can pick up one of those. And then usually I have to trim the long side just a little bit. And sliding in is enough, it's not gonna be down low.
Right.
So all you're trying to do is prevent some kind of eddy. If
I
you're
was
in a
wondering
big
about
eddy.
wrapping the bottom, I got cozies for the 2 boxes at the bottom, but if I just wrap the bottom so winds can,
Sure.
for it.
And with that, yeah, use some turd papers. Cardboard, you know, that would be fine for the ones.
Back, yeah.
Alright. Well, there's cupcakes.
Thank you, everybody.